Hi,
Chronicle of Death Foretold by Gabriel Garcia Marcuz. This video was done by Selim Ghaffar and Magdi Badran.
I'm Magdi,
And I'm Ghaffar,
and we're from English 10-7.
7.
Today we will be discussing a great novella called Chronicle of a Death Foretold.
The novella was written by an author who had earned the Nobel Peace Award in Literature, named Gabriel Garcia Marcuz.
Wow, he sounds like he's a great person. When did he earn the award?
Well, he earned the award in the year 1981, but unfortunately he passed away on April 17th, 2014, Mexico City.
Well, I also have some interesting facts about the novella.
All right, tell me.
When the novella is based on real crimes that had took place in the 1950s. In the novella, a feminism lens can be used to analyze the text due to the fact the story is mostly based on a woman named Angela.
Yeah, and the feminist lens helps the reader understand the relationship between both men and women in the story.
In Marquez's Chronicle of Death Foretold, the author criticizes toxic masculinity through the male character in his novel.
All right, let's talk about the twins.
What about them?
Well, though the actions that were shown by the Vicario twins, Marcuse is able to show how masculinity is damaged by the patriarchy.
Hey, Gaffer, can you go into more details?
Sure, Magdi. Throughout the novella, Marcuse shows the Vicario twins as two violent men in their society. A man must be able to show his masculine side by showing some violence and aggression. If the man is not violent or aggressive, he is thought to be effeminate. So when the Vicario twins had lost their honor due to their sister Angela being returned to her by her husband because she had lost her virginity, that's why the only thing they knew for sure was that Angela the Vicario's brothers were waiting to kill him. This quote is from page 22 in the novella.
Wow, that sounds bad.
It is, but the worst part is how they killed Santiago.
How did they kill him?
By the Vicario twins both kept on knifing, knifing him against the door with alternate and easy stabs floating in the dazzling backwater they had found on the other side of fear. They didn't hear the sounds, they didn't hear the shouts of the whole town frightened by its own crime. The author chooses to go into depth when it comes to explaining the crime that, that is being done by the Vicario twins. This shows the reader how violent the men can be. The author is able to show the reader how men are violent through the actions that are being done by the Vicario twins. The twins are stabbing the same person multiple times, even though they could have stabbed that person once. The person develops a setting that is also full of fear. This is demonstrated by the author saying the whole town is frightened by its own crimes. This is significant because it shows the reader toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity is shown through the crime that was done and the way the crime was conducted. The twins stabbed the victim multiple times and left the town in fear of the crime that has been done. However, according to legaltools.com, women are perceived as the responsibilities of the man's or family's honor. Such, they must guard their virginity. When they fail to do so, they are seen as having defiled the family's honor and must be killed in order to restore it. LegalTools.com also stated that usually the reason of honor killings is especially of a sexual relationship outside the marriage. Also, Legal Tools stated that usually when there is a killing of honor done, it is done by either the father or a brother. In this case, it was the brother of Angela. So, Magdi, tell me about Santiago Nassar.
Okay, well, to start off, through the actions which are shown by Santiago, Marquez is able to show how masculinity is damaged by the patriarchy of Santiago Nassar. He was one of the main characters in this novella who also happens to be an Arab. He is a protagonist who sadly throughout the story got killed and was made a mockery of his name. He was a kind, harmless man who after a while was accused of taking a girl's virginity, whilst in reality he did not do it. The two twins who had previously talked about the ones who had killed him in the name of honor, while he was just a harmless man. By his nature, Santiago Nassar was a merry and peaceful and open-hearted. It's Marquez, page 6. The text tells us how Santiago Nassar was as a person. He was a good person and um, and always helped people. Some thought it was a fake personality, but those were his natural instincts. Sadly, he was murdered by the twins. Yet they could still not let his body rest in peace. They went back to his body to ensure that they would torture him even more, all in the name of how honor was violated. But that was not for honor. That was simply toxic masculinity at its worst. They came to sharpen their knives a second time, he told me, and once more they shouted for people to hear that they were going to cut Santiago Nassar's guts out. Page 13. After seeing all this, we were able to analyze the quotes into deeper context. In the story, all men are seen as disgusting people or as people who are exposed to toxic masculinity. Nassar was different. He was not following the ordinary rules of being a man, yet he was not considered a man due to him not being violent or mean as the people who lived with him.
All right. So Magdi, I'm going to talk about Bayardo.
Okay, sure.
Through Bayardo's actions that were shown by Marcuse in his novella, Marcuse is able to show how masculinity is damaged by the patriarchy. Marcuse shows the reader that Bayardo is the type of person that likes to kind of show off. In a certain point of the novella, Bayardo San Roman arrived on a weekly boat with some saddlebags decorated with that matched the buckle of his belt and the rings on his boots. He was around 30 years old, but were all concealed because he had the waist of a novice bullfighter, golden eyes, and a skin slowly roasted by saltpeter. He arrived wearing a short jacket and a very tight trousers, both of natural calfskin, and a kid gloves of the same color. This shows the reader how the character is described. The character is shown to the reader as a well-dressed, wealthy man, while all the other characters in the novella are not that well-dressed or that wealthy. However, with all this wealth, the man still expresses the manly actions, which show the reader that the men in the novella are being masculine and are developing the same masculine traits. This is significant because the same traits that the unwealthy men are showing are the exact same traits that the wealthy man had showed. Bardo never liked Angela, and Angela never liked Bardo. But there came a point where he decided that he wanted to marry Angela, and of course the family had agreed. However, Angela was forced to marry him, while she also still didn't love him. But according to Bartley research, Angela Angela Vaccaro, Angela never liked Biardo, and the same way, vice versa. But where he decided Angela Vaccaro was the biggest victim out of all the characters because she was forced to get married to someone who she didn't love and created a lie for losing her virginity before getting married. Angela was forced to marry Beardo San Romano ever since he asked her to marry her. It never gave Angela the chance to know Beardo San Romano. This was stated on page 20. It was Angela Vaccaro who didn't want to marry him. All right. So, in the end,
Through male characters in the novella, Chronicle of a Death Foretold, the author is able to criticize toxic masculinity. Let's review the information, okay? Why not? The Vicario twins had knifed Santiago Nassar multiple times due to them thinking that they had slept with their sister Angela. That's why she returned to her family from her husband, because she lost her virginity to Santiago. We also found out that Bayardo was a bit of a show-off due to the way he dressed. We also found out that Angela didn't want to marry Bayardo because he was too much of a man. Finally, all the events that men have made show how aggressive and violent they are. It also shows how the patriarchy has a huge effect on masculinity. Anyways, thanks for watching. We hope you learned a lot. I'm Magdi.
and I'm Gafar, signing off this episode of the video essay. Good night and have a great night.